American radio show and podcast. Whether you're sipping an espresso, indulging in a plate of pasta, or just tuning in from your favorite pizzeria, we're here to bring you the flavors, traditions, and stories that make up the heart of the Italian-American experience. From the bustling streets of Little Italy to the family kitchens where recipes are passed down through generations, we'll explore it all. So grab a canoe, settle in, and let's embark on this delightful journey together. In each episode, we'll feature interviews with fascinating guests, share authentic recipes, and dive into the history that shaped the Italian-American community. But most importantly, we want to hear from you. Call in, share your stories, and let's create a community that celebrates the essence of La Dolce Vita. You can also catch our podcast episodes for a taste of Italy wherever you are. So whether you're Nana's favorite or just discovering your roots, get ready for a radio experience that's amore, right here on the Italian-American radio show and podcast. Andiamo! Stay tuned for an hour of cultural delights coming your way on the Italian-American radio show and podcast.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Italian-American radio show. This is Fran Sullivan with your show and your host. I want to have a different show today. I get a lot of people call me and talk to me and ask me different things to do on the show, which you can't do all of them, but these lately I can do. And the number on the show is 702-221-7283. 221-7283. And I want people to call in because we have situations that people are upset with. And I want to see where we are in Vegas or wherever. We're heard everywhere on the podcast, so could be calls from anywhere. But we got a lot of things going on, and I'd like to know what you think. I have an idea what some of my friends think because they call me and they ask me to put it on the show, and I don't, and I don't know that I will today. But a lot of them aren't too happy, and they ask me how I see it, and I have different ideas on it. But the sad part of all of this is that we can't continue down the road we're on. The president has to do something because the people are really, really struggling. And when it starts hitting the upper middle class, that's when you really have a problem. Middle class has already been hit. Now the upper middle class, people that are just doing a little bit better and maybe have two new cars instead of one and an older one, and their kids go to private school perhaps, and they live in a nicer home, and they have a business or what have you, and they're worried now because everything is sky high. Everything. It doesn't matter what it is, and it's not good. The picture's not good. What I see happening is not good because I lived through 2005, 2006, 2007 through 11, and it took that long for it to start turning around. And I saw a lot of friends. They lost their homes. They couldn't pay for their homes, and everything was sky high again. And I had just opened a business up in Page, Arizona, and I opened that business in May and closed it in October. And I had a lease, a long time lease, but the truth of it is, I opened that in May. I believe it was maybe May the 18th or the 20th. I opened that little restaurant. Next door to me was a gasoline station, and the gasoline station went from $3 a gallon or 2.80 a gallon to 5 immediately overnight. And that was when George Bush told everybody we were broke and Wall Street crashed, and it was impossible to make a quarter. And the lake, which is the big attraction up at Lake Powell, naturally, is the lake. The lake, the fellow that ran the marina there, I knew him, Mike, and they were starving because what was happening is the people were coming in from California, from Utah, from Texas, from wherever. They'd drive out with their boats and they'd spend a week out there on a boat, maybe 2 weeks out there because the lake is 270 miles long. Beautiful beaches, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's much, much nicer than the lake we have here, Lake Mead. It really is. It just is because of the where it's at. It's in Utah and Arizona, so it just is it's nicer. That lake feeds Lake Mead, in case you didn't know that. But in any event, there's a dam there, and that dam, they open that waterway, and the water from the Colorado River feeds Lake Mead. But in any event, the idea was they would come up and they would spend a couple weeks or a week vacationing with their children, and they had their boats and just a good time. Well, the gasoline on the lake went to $7.50, $7.75. And I'm telling you, I opened the Philly cheesesteak there. And they came in before they went to the lake, they came in, they got some cheesesteaks and sodas or ice or whatever. And then they went to the lake. They were back the next day ordering cheesesteaks again and telling me that they were going home. And I don't mean one. I mean, there was a line. I rented a Sonic. It was closed, and I rented it and remodeled it. And the line went around that circle, how the Sonic is a circle. That line with people with trucks and boats, and it was unbelievable. And that's the truth. Because they couldn't afford. How do you afford $7.50 to fill up 100 gallons of gas on a speedboat? It might seem like a lot, but it's not. And it might last you 4 or 5 hours if you're out there skiing. That's $750. So if you're spending a few days or a week or two, you needed a Platinum Express. But I mean, it was just ridiculous, and the people didn't have it, and they were leaving. They knew it, and they just said, "We got to get out of here, get back to where we live, wherever that is, and find a lake out there or the ocean or whatever, wherever they were." And it cost nothing. That they could go home and come out, and they didn't have the expense of staying over. But in any event, I see that happening again right now. I mean, that's what's going on here. You have everything is just through the roof. It's just crazy. I saw a commercial on TV the other day, and it was, and I mentioned it to somebody. It was Wendy's did a commercial. They were going to give you two breakfast sandwiches, sausage kind of McMuffin, and potatoes for $3.25 or whatever it was. Great deal. And I went because I forget where I was going somewhere, but I was going somewhere, and so I said, let me stop. I'll get one anyway. I'll buy two. I get one, and I'll get a coffee with it. Excuse me. And I ordered it, and I got to the window to pay, and the fellow tells me 7 and change. He said 7 and change. He said, "Yeah, well, you got the coffee, and when you get the coffee, it's more money." I said, "Really? It's more money?" I said, because I had already given him the card. I said, "Let me have that card back then." So he gave me the card back. I said, I guess he thought I was going to give him cash. I got the card back. I said, "Forget that order." And I'm saying to myself, I can't believe. Oh, I know where I was going. I was going to DMV, and I couldn't believe that they would do something like that. But that's what they're doing. They're not telling people anything. You just go, and all of a sudden, the price has changed. Now, here's another one. I go to my phone company yesterday. I had a special rate that I got, uh, and I go there, and the rate is now $15 more than what I was normally paying. So I asked them why. I said, why did they raise it? And why did you wait for me to have to come here to tell me when I'm paying my bill? When because I tried to pay the bill on the phone, they wouldn't let me. And they said, oh, well, they just changed it. I said, well, they may have changed it, but aren't they obligated to get in touch with the people? I mean, I'm sure there's a million of us out there, that have the same program. Why would you change it and not tell the people it's going to cost them more money? Oh, well, it's just, no, no, they probably got in touch with me. I said, they didn't get in touch with me. Don't stand there and tell me that because they didn't. And I know why they didn't. And it was a young kid. He said, well, why do you think they didn't? I said, because a lot of people could be offended from it and they would start checking out other phone companies because that's not how you do business. You don't do business just by raising a price and not telling people. The price is supposed to be this, but then when they go to pay it, oh, it's not really that, it's this. See, that's not really a good business ethic or a good business practice in your case, kid, because he's a kid. And I meant every word of it. Uh, I had to pay the bill if I wanted my phone, and because I needed it yesterday. This was yesterday. In any event, it's stuff like that that goes on, and people get offended by it. People get upset over it. This is going on with everything. You can't go buy a sandwich without it being ridiculously priced. You can't get gas in your car without it being ridiculously priced. You can't go buy a part for anything without it being crazy. It's just craziness. And then what they want to charge you for labor, but you can't blame the people in the labor department. Not really, because everything else is sky high. So that, but that's not really true either because labor's labor. Uh, it's not anything that they personally have to buy. They're just using their hands and their brains to make something happen. So they shouldn't be hiking at 25 and 35%. And I know about that also, which I won't go into it, but I don't like it. And me personally, I do something about it. When people do that to me, I do something about it. I don't allow it. Uh, People get mad at me because I have a different take on life. 221-7283. I'd like you to call, and if you have anything on your mind, I don't care what it is, you can talk to us about it. And if you know anything about voters' rights here in Nevada, does anybody really know what voters' rights are here in Nevada? Uh, because if you don't, I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you anyway. You need to have ID to vote in this state, and you have to show it. You can't just say, oh, I got it. You got to show it. And that's a driver's license or a social security card or some form of uh, identification that's a government form or a state form. And it's just good knowledge to know that. And you have these states where that's not regulated, where anybody could just come in and vote. And that's not something that you want. You really don't want that. You want to be able to control who's voting. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. You're going to have just plain and ordinary cheating. I mean, people are just going to cheat. That's what they do. So the idea is to know what the law is, and if you have to spend some time uh, with some people and explain to them that you're going to have people down at the uh, voting booths to check on who's pulling out papers to show. I mean, if I have to show my paperwork then everybody should have to show their paperwork in Nevada. Everybody. And this is nonsense that in certain cities uh, and states, the people don't have to show their identification. They could just walk in and vote. Now, the problem with that is you have a lot of people that came across that border. And if you think for 1 minute that they're not being groomed to vote, you're crazy. I don't have any problem saying that to anybody. You're out of your mind. Now, not all of them, but I'll tell you what, when somebody starts throwing money around and giving them money like they do in every city, I know because I grew up in South Philly, and that's what the Democrats did in South Philly. Republicans too, but Democrats did it with a little more gusto. And the truth of it is, was somebody on? Oh, my genie?
Hey, how are you?
How's my genie doing?
We're doing good. We're doing great. I agree with you about the voter ID. I think the entire country needs to have voter ID. You need to show your license or library card or whatever you have and show your ID, because as soon as some of these migrants, illegal people come over, they are giving them licenses. And here in Massachusetts, they're not forcing them to sign up to vote, but they're encouraging them to check this box on your license. And of course, they're all going to vote Democrat, because why would they take the silver spoon out of their mouth and bite the hand that feeds them? And here we're in big trouble because they've housed probably, I don't know how many thousands here in Massachusetts, but it's impacting schools. It's impacting hospitals hugely. You cannot go in to an urgent care or a hospital without waiting 5 hours, being out in the hall of an emergency room. There's a lot more to this, and it's unfortunate that people immediately want to give their hard-earned money, pay more taxes to support these people who come here and don't want to be Americans. They don't want to come here, work hard, make a life for themselves, become Americans. They want to feed off of the taxpayers, and that's the bottom line with it.
No, that's
my opinion.
Well, that opinion is exactly right on target, Jeannie. That's exactly what's going on. And you know how this all started, don't you? This all started with the Rockefellers back in 1913, when they broke up the Rockefellers, but they really didn't break them up. See, they broke up the monopoly, but they really didn't break up the monopoly. And so now what you have these, he was worth billions of dollars then in 1890s. So by 1913, he was worth a couple billion. And what he did was he just bought everything up. They bought everything from land to businesses, major companies they bought. And they continued to buy them all through the years. And then they got into buying up the broadcast stations. And that's what you have. And they've allowed it. I remember when they sold Sony Pictures, they allowed Sony televisions to buy Sony Pictures. So I don't know if that was MGM owned that and sold that portion, but they sold Hollywood off to Sony, to the Japs. And I was I might have been 20 years old when that happened. But what they've done is they've taken major conglomerates and they keep combining them. And all of a sudden, you have one person or one family owns 50, 60 different businesses. I'm not talking about little businesses. I'm talking about monstrous type business. Well, you look at the Walton family. What do they have? 5,000 stores all over the world? 5,000. Wow. Can you imagine this?
No. While we were sleeping, we trusted the government. I hate to say this, but we believed for a long time, at least I did, Lee Harvey Oswald was a lone killer. And then I don't know what woke me up. I met a friend that wrote books and it has been going through all the archives, what he can legally get, by the way, because, the report has never been fully opened or exposed. So what he said was, they want us to believe this. what's really going on? Who really killed him? And after we started to look into it a lot more, I don't trust the government. I don't trust the government at all.
You can't.
While we were sleeping, the Vietnam War. We're not in, what Cambodia? Oh, no. But then you find out they were in Cambodia. They were seeding the clouds at one point to get that monsoon going and close the Ho Chi Minh Trail. I mean, the things that they have done are really sinister.
Well, what do you
Really
think?
sinister. I don't trust them.
What do you think is going on here in this country now? You think that all of these tornadoes and all this rain, you got rain like you've never seen before in your life. But the truth of it is, what's happening is you have people that own these stations. They own these radio stations and own these broadcast systems. You can't get the news from them.
That's right.
They're not showing it to you. They don't show you that on television.
Now, you did hear that they're going to I say seed, but I'm not sure exactly what they call it, but put out in the atmosphere something that reflects the sun so that it doesn't get too hot, global warming or whatever they call it now, climate change.
Yeah,
If
right.
and they're testing that, right? They say they're testing it. Well, that was just the beginning of it. If you don't think they've been playing, like you said, random tornadoes, random floods, snow in Texas. If you look back again, the flooding at the Ho Chi Minh Trail that we weren't even supposed to be there, but they flooded Ho Chi Minh Trail into Cambodia so that they couldn't attack. They have been playing with our weather, doing something. It sounds crazy, and I thought it was crazy until I did a little reading. They have more control over us than we could ever imagine. And I honestly, what's going on now, I think they're winning.
Oh, they're winning.
I think they're winning.
They're definitely winning.
And whether you love or hate Trump, if he does not win, we have passed the Rubicon. We cannot go back. Is he our only hope? Pretty much. Are they doing everything they can to, how can I put this without saying it, get rid of him? Push him aside, eliminate him. They're doing everything possible.
Well, they're doing
He'll be lucky if he makes the convention.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
No, I did.
So what do we do?
This morning, I was listening to the news this morning on Fox, and they were talking about, well, one of the particular hosts has a radio station. He was talking about that it just, they have to stop playing games with these small DAs out there in New York and trying to get heard there in New York. And Trump has to take it right to the people in Washington, the top Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Go bypass everybody and go to them. And, and then he was told, suppose he loses. Well, he loses. But, will he lose? I don't think so. I don't think he would lose. And
and what's the magic question here? Where's Jim Jordan?
Oh, yeah.
Where's
They're
Tom
all,
Cruise?
they're all, that's so much BS, those people on,
They should be standing up. The only one is that Marjorie Taylor Greene.
the only one that's got any
And
guts.
they silenced her
That's
lately.
exactly right. She's the only one that's got any guts that would stand out.
Yep.
It's funny. I said this to somebody and in my family. I said, these Republicans, they're such sissies and such phonies. If they really wanted something to be passed, all of them, all the Republican senators and congressmen would walk out on those steps of the Capitol.
Yep.
And you would have every news crew from around the world wanting to know why. And then they would tell them why.
Exactly.
And that's
They
all it
can't.
would take. That's all it would take. But would they do that? No, they won't do it because they're all in it. And the truth of it is, not all of them, but most are in it for the money.
They're invested. Yep.
Yeah.
They have They have sold. I hate to put it this way. They've sold their soul. They supposedly ran for office to help us. Day one, they were probably called into an office and said, "I'm going to show you how the game's played." And the ones that are the worst are the ones that probably are stupid enough to do something stupid and be threatened. Mitt Romney was governor here in Massachusetts. I liked him. And then he goes to Washington and he does what he does. He was Republican. I mean, they have all sold their souls. They come out wealthy. They go in pretty normal, come out wealthy. And then they say, "Oh, yes, we're Republicans. Well, we want to do it the right way and be nice." No, that's baloney. They're all on the take.
You got it.
Just my opinion.
Well, no, Jeannie, you're right, and you're right, and there are about 140 million people that believe the same way as you, and the way I'm thinking. It just can't keep going on. Just on and on and on the way what's happening. They've got everything so far. It's a disaster. I mean, a complete disaster.
Yeah,
And they're trying to bribe these kids off. He's trying to bribe them because these kids are coming out of college. Some of them want to get married. They're 22, 23 years old, and some of them are engaged and want to get engaged. They want to buy a home. They can't afford it. They can't afford to buy a house. How insane is that in the United States of America? A kid coming out of college can't buy a home.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I could understand if you work for McDonald's, but if you're getting a diploma from a major university and you still can't buy a home unless your family's wealthy and buys it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just nuts.
These colleges are just as much on the take and at fault.
Oh yeah.
Because you know something, Tufts University, Harvard, they have billions, and yet they go to college, they go to Harvard. What's the tuition? $80,000, $70,000 a year?
Yeah, it's insanity.
A year, and then he's saying, "I'm going to forgive student loans." Well, he's not going to Harvard and saying they're not paying. He's going to us, the taxpayers, who, by the way, some of these kids that graduated went on to become very wealthy plumbers, electricians. Why should they pay anybody else's? Why should I? We put 3 kids through college. We paid for it. It's something radically wrong.
Well, the problem is that there's no one that they can get in touch with that has the broadcast ability to broadcast what people really feel. You can't. It's not getting out. The only people that put it out is Fox. And Fox is, in reality of Fox, I would say Fox is 60% to 70% Democrat.
Yes.
You want me to name them?
Yeah.
I'll name them for you. And the next time you see them, you'll understand. You
you
see that Dana Perino? She's a Demi all the way. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
And the other one, the other blonde that comes on, what's her name? She's out of Washington too. It'll come to me. She's with a smile. Every time she talks about something happening with Trump, it's a smile. Like she really enjoys it. And there's a half a dozen of them on there that they're phonies again. They're phony, but that's what they all are. They just will not accept the fact. And you know what's funny? You know the funny part of this here? I'm going to bring this down to street level. When things happen to people, a lot of times, there's a couple untouchables that they think nobody can touch them. It's not going to happen to me. That could never happen to me. And then all of a sudden, something changes and it happens to them. And that's exactly what's going to happen to a lot of people in this country. Things are going to flip. And I'm not saying it's going to stay that way. The flip is going to stay that way. But if it does flip, a lot of people are going to get hurt. I don't mean physically hurt. I mean monetarily
financially.
hurt. Yeah, financially. Yes. The ones that have been skating, they won't be able to do it. They'll be broke. And that's what needs to happen. But it's not going to happen until the American people understand. No one family or no one corporation should own 4 broadcast stations. And within those 4 broadcast stations, they own 700 radio stations, 300 TV stations across the country, and
Yeah.
and then they own the advertising agencies within it. I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy. I listen to a couple of conservative talk show people, and they're out there with iHeart Radio, and I know if Trump loses, we won't hear them again. They'll be off there. We're going to have to go on the, what do they call him, radios. They won't be there anymore. If Trump does not win, really and truly, we're already censored to some degree. Anyone on Facebook knows that. They already, they already watch us to some degree where we take them, and they do this, but the bank has to say, are we green enough? So where do we put our money? What are we buying? We're in a dangerous place. And I go back to my grandparents
Thank you.
who came here. They did not come here to have their granddaughter go running, carrying mace because, 10 miles down the road in one direction, 3 miles down the road in another direction are housed illegals that have never been vetted, that have probably been in jail or institutions. And I have to now not feel safe. I take every piece of jewelry off me when I go running. Every piece of jewelry, my engagement ring, my necklace, because going out in this environment is dangerous. And if you don't believe me, what was that name? What was that girl, Riley?
Yeah.
Laken.
Yep.
She went out for a run. And I think about this all the time because it happens all the time. And they don't report it. Out for a run, just like me, anytime in the early morning or maybe late afternoon. And she was murdered, raped, and I think they burned her body. And an illegal, somebody that was never vetted. And then what do? They released him. They didn't even deport him. 2 doctors from a big hospital in Boston about 10 years ago let this guy in, thought he was maintenance. He was an illegal, chopped them into a million pieces. I don't mean to be that graphic. He left. Someone identified him. He's on a plane back to his home country, never punished for that. And I know you've heard of the angel moms. Have you ever heard of the angel moms?
No.
Okay, the angel moms are all the mothers, and probably dads too, who lost a child killed by an illegal alien.
Oh, God.
Killed.
No.
Maureen Maloney, big here in Massachusetts. Her son, Matthew, was out riding his motorcycle in the late spring, early summer. He was on his motorcycle, stopped at a stop sign. An illegal in a truck, drunk with his child, ran him over. Wasn't bad enough he ran him over. He decided to finish the job. He backed over him again, and this time he dragged him a mile down the road. Again, the guy was arrested. They let him out. He fled. That's what not all of them, and I'm not saying all of them, but we don't vet them. So we're leaving our front door and our back door open, and people are getting killed. And where's the law and order in this country? And this is what we're coming to.
Well, there is no law and order in this country anymore. I mean, in certain states, but all your Democratic states and some Republican states also that follow the Democratic way, there's no law and order. It's complete insanity, complete madness. You have these cops being shot every day.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, you shot a cop. If you shot a cop or killed a cop, you got the electric chair immediately. Immediately. There was no ifs and buts about it. You're going to the chair. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
And then you're right. 100% right. There's no fear. No fear. You can walk out of, Home Depot. And I saw it myself. A tall, younger man, chubby. I don't want to say who it was, but I assumed he was here recently. He's holding this box, walking around, grabbed the box, walked out the door. I said to the salesperson, "Did he pay for that?" "No, but we can't do anything. The police won't do anything, and for us, we'll get fired." That's where we live.
Well,
I mean,
see, the problem with that is I said this a long time ago also, and to people, they didn't, I guess nobody believes what you try to tell them, common sense. Uh, it's just common sense stuff. I read a book years and years ago in the early 80s, probably late 70s, on John D. Rockefeller. And I read this book, and in the back index, and it had holdings. That's how I really got into the Rockefellers.
Wow.
There were probably, and I'm not kidding when I say this, there were probably maybe 10 pages, double-sided pages. And it was just a list on 2-column list on each page of
Oh my God.
of their holdings here and around the world. And you could not believe every major company they're invested in the United States. Every major company that you could imagine they were invested in. And the problem is the nobody's done anything about this.
Yep.
They've allowed this to happen. And when you allow that to happen, you seriously have a problem because there's no control for the little guy. He can't control anything, and that's why
That's
what you
right.
have now, you have people walking out uh, of a store, like you're saying. You walk out
Yep.
of a store with $800 or $900 worth of goods. You're standing there after you just paid for something, or you're going to pay for something, and you're watching. It's madness, because it is. It's madness that they're
It is
allowed to
madness.
that they're allowed to do this, and nobody stops them. Years ago in
That's right.
Philadelphia, it was in the K&A. It's called K&A. That's where you see all the druggies in Philadelphia. You see them; they look like zombies in the street. That's
Oh God.
that's Kensington and Allegheny. K&A, very, very, very bad place. It's always been a bad place. Uh, a uh, a fella there, um, his his son was killed. Young boy
Ugh.
was hit with a car, and young, 8 years old, 7 years old, and the fella that killed him, that hit him, well, he disappeared. You see,
Sad.
well, yeah, that was the saddest part. Uh, that shouldn't have happened because I'm sure it was an accident. But certain people, the old way, have that old way of doing things, and
Yep.
and that's what happened there. But this guy was a very well connected guy, and big time, and his kid was murdered as far as he was concerned, and
Sure.
he was going to murder somebody back, and I know he did. I mean, because they never heard from the guy again, so he was gone.
Wow.
Family guy, he was gone. He went to work and never came home. So
Wow.
those days, the government, the city stopped it, and the government went along with it. They stopped all that stuff, so you couldn't protect your home, and that started 50 years ago. It really did,
Yeah.
where you wanted to try to
Yep.
protect yourself from those kinds of people that would hurt you, and you weren't allowed. They prosecuted you along with them,
That's right.
trying to find a reason to fine you or put you in jail for protecting your family. And it got worse and worse and worse. And the more these Democrats got in power, and some of these Republicans, they're bad. They're vicious people. They truly,
I
truly
agree.
are. And Trump's not far off when he starts talking about what they've done to him, and what they've done to him is I mean, you talk about a crime, and the lies. I mean, this president we have, I look at him and say, is he for real? When he gets up and says, when he came to office, uh, the Trump had us at 9.5% inflation. I'm saying to myself, is this guy crazy or what?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember it was about a point eight, point seven inflation. He wasn't in office a week, and he changed everything, and everything started to go south. I mean, just he was a total. You know what? I don't think anybody could destroy a country like he did.
Yeah. Well,
A
he had
thriving
help.
a thriving country.
Yeah. He had help.
Oh yeah, he
He
had a
had
lot of
help.
help. He had a lot of help for sure.
He
Yeah.
had help. But this president, and this absolutely knocks me out. The women's movement, these liberals with their pink hats, by the way, we defend women, have let men walk all over us again in the locker room and in sports. But here's a president that has documentation from, I think, his daughter and everybody else. The man is a pedophile. And he's sitting in the White House. Where is the cry from women? Where is it? They ignore it. And this is how they've been able to do over the years what they do, because they've divided us by either color, by rich, by poor, by conservative, by men, by women. All we do is put out little fires. And all the while, they are committing evil acts of treason, by the way. Acts of treason. And I don't want to take up much more of your time, but I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight this. I stand out. We had a big standout yesterday here. I'm not going to stop. I owe it to my kids, and not just my kids and my grandkids. I owe it to my grandparents that came over here by this long boat trip on this ship. I owe it to them. They didn't come to this country for this.
No, they
And
sure
so I'll
didn't.
fight.
They sure didn't. And what'd you call it? Angel what?
Angel moms. Angel moms.
Mom. I got to look that up and send them
And
something.
it's Maureen Maloney, Angel Mom. Her son was Matthew Denise was her son. Matthew Denise, and her name is Maureen Maloney, and she's called an Angel Mom. Trump has met with them.
Yeah, well,
Trump
he's
has
a
met with
real
them.
person. You see,
Yeah.
he's real. He's a real person. He's not a phony. And he's
Yeah.
a caring person, caring man. And
Like
Yeah.
I say, pray, brother. You gotta pray.
yeah.
That's all I can say. Pray and get out there. Don't let people silence you.
No. You can't do that. You gotta, that's why you get whatever you know. The saddest part though is the truth of it is that you can't get on major broadcast stations. You just can't. I was trying to do that with what I was doing here. I wanted to try to get on as many radio stations as I could. And I am going to try something this coming week. I am going to try something that I can maybe get on 5 to 10 different stations across the country. I'm going to try something different, but we'll see.
Okay.
And but
Well, you have an open invitation to my show. Anytime we can Zoom it, let me know. And you have an open invitation. We'll Zoom, and my show goes. It goes on YouTube, so people see it there.
Jeannie,
But we can't.
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, we have to fight. We cannot be silent. We have to keep speaking up. We have to speak the truth. We have to, we can't be polite and say, I respect your opinion. No, I don't respect your opinion anymore. And if you want to hear the truth, I'll tell you the truth. If you want to live in a fantasy land, then I won't talk to you about it.
Well, that's,
I mean,
what needs to be said to people is these people that they believe in this Democratic Party. I don't know how you could. I don't know how you could want more of this. I mean, I don't know where you live in, that you don't see what's going on here. But the bottom line is they have to get away from that. I think a lot of them are going to get away from it this election time. I truly do. I don't think that I don't think they're going to let the country go down, and it will definitely go down if they allow the Republicans back in another 4 years. Forget about it. And
the Democrats, yeah.
It's true. And
Yeah.
but I really appreciate. I'm so happy you called, Jeannie. I was thinking of you the other day. I was looking at something and I saw your picture with your husband. I don't know. You were somewhere. I'm trying to think where you were at some affair.
We were, yeah. Oh, yeah. We did our Italian American Alliance annual meeting. It went really well. I'm going to be putting that up on my Facebook page after I get some edits to it. We did that. I'm trying to get him on my show. I'm doing a near-death experience show, and
Near-death experience, huh?
Near-death experience. A man who wrote a book and survived his near-death experience, and without giving it away, my husband had the same thing. So anyhow,
really?
I'm trying to get them to sit down with me and talk about their near-death experience. So that's what's coming up on Virginia's Views and Vibes, seen on YouTube.
I got to watch that one.
Yeah.
I got to watch. And you know what?
Yep.
our guy here, Justin, is across from me here. He had one of those this week. They worked him so hard, so many hours. He was having a near-death experience.
Because he went home to his wife and she said, "Where have you been?" That's his near-death
His
experience.
poor kids. Everybody left him. He was running all station by himself. He said, "I don't believe this. Everybody went on vacation, and I'm here." But yeah,
Well, you have a great rest of the weekend, and let's talk soon.
I promise you, Jeannie. I promise
All
you.
righty.
All right, darling.
All
Love
right.
you. Love you,
Very
lady.
well. God bless.
Tell your husband I said hello.
I will.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. She's a character. She's really good. I really like Jeannie. I like Denise too. And Ricky Ricchetti from Philly. I got to get him on. You know, he calls and texts me, and I don't get back to him because I'm so caught up in nonsense. But I'm going to take these off now, okay? Unless somebody calls in. And if somebody wants to call in, 221-7283. I want to do something this week. I want to try to enhance this broadcast. And I want to work on it. I was going to do something today with Justin, but I'm not. I'll do it tomorrow evening. And because I want to get it right. What I want to say, I want to get it right. And as a matter of fact, I was having, I don't mind saying this, breakfast this morning. I made myself breakfast. I was sitting there, I was eating it, and I was reading something that I had written 3 years ago on a piece of paper. But it was only the first 2-3 lines. Everything else was something different. Pertained to the show, but it didn't have anything to do with what I want to talk about. And I read those 2 or 3 lines, and when I did it again, I said to myself, you know what? I want to do this right off the cuff. I want to talk whatever I'm going to say. I want to say what's in my heart and what's in my head, because that's how I put this together. This show I put together, and I mean it. I heard something. I didn't like what I heard from another station. And I just said, you know what? I want to try to put something together that has meaning and to millions of people. And that's what I'm going to be talking about this week, me and Justin. And I'm going to explain exactly what my thoughts were and what I want to see happen if it's at all possible. And I know it is possible if I get the right help. And if I do, there's a lot of things, a lot of people will be enlightened with a lot of knowledge in all different areas, but predominantly Italian, the Italian culture. I want those kids to understand where they come from, their heritage. And that's pretty much why I put it together. I just saw something happening and how they were losing it. And you can lose it just like we're losing this country here because we're allowing people that really don't care about us. They don't care about the country. All they care about is making money. That's their whole thing is money. And then they can buy that other house, in another country somewhere or up in some mountain somewhere and get away from everything. And but they still got plenty of dough. That's like these movie stars. Disgraces. Total disgraces. You got a guy like De Niro. What a disgrace that guy is. And I like them. I always liked them. I would put on one of his movies, which is a shame because there are always people in his movies that are big stars that you like that don't think like him. And if they do, they keep it to themselves, as they should. But I wouldn't watch another one of his movies ever. After what I saw him do, I said, this guy, he's another. You know what? He has restaurants in Dubai. I wonder how many people know that he spent millions and millions of dollars over there in Dubai. Him and his Arab friends. This guy's got money comes out of his ears. This guy, and he's telling you about Trump, how bad Trump is, and I tried to find out how many people Trump employed and employs just in New York. And I couldn't get that stat for some reason. Google don't have it. I got to get it somewhere else because I'm really curious about that. How many people did Donald Trump employ as opposed to a guy like him that shoots his mouth off about Donald Trump? How many people does he employ in his phony baloney restaurants, for the elite, and Dubai. That's what you need. Everybody needs a restaurant in Dubai, don't you think, Justin? I mean, if you were going to open a restaurant, I'd want to do it in Dubai. Right. But that's where they are. That's where their heads are. They want that notoriety, that fame that they get from madness like that. Instead of taking that kind of money and doing something good for a little town somewhere in the United States, build a little town up with some infrastructure, some businesses that manufacture something. They don't have to be big. They could be little manufacturing companies that hire 50 people, 80 people, 100 people. Put 6 or 7 of them in, and you got 1,000 people working in a town. 1,000 people. If you got a little tiny town with 4,000 or 5,000 people, 6,000, 7,000 people, they can run a town nicely and make money. The town can make money. But why would they want to do that? Why would you want to do that? You're going to look at that Appalachia. You drive through Appalachia. It's unbelievable. I don't want to get into that yet either because that's another thorn in my side. All the money that's down there. The only one that made a difference down there is that Dolly Parton. She is an angel, that lady. She is an angel and a caring person. And but there's a lot of them. They're not worth their weight in salt. And that would be in the Utah salt flats. They're not worth that salt. And there's only 500,000 billion pounds of it. You're not worth their weight in it. But in any event, the idea that we were talking about, I started off and we got off on different things naturally, but Jeannie was mentioning how they're giving these illegals driver's licenses. How the hell do you get to give somebody that can't even speak the language? They can't even speak the language. They have no education. They have no ability to do anything that's worthwhile. They would have to be born again in this country. Their children can learn if they're young enough to start at first and second grade and go through, but they're not going to learn if they got people in the house that don't speak English and don't want to. That and are just their mindset is back in that corruption that they came from, because all these countries that they've come from, they're all corrupt. It's unbelievable. They want to come here and they want to corrupt this place. Look at what they did to New York. Look at what they do to Chicago. How they're mugging people, robbing stores. I mean, it's just, and the American people, unfortunately, put up with this craziness. They absolutely put up with it. And it's sad. It truly is sad. And Jeannie was right. You got people walking in a store just blatantly grabbing $1,000 TV set or $800 TV set and walk out the door. And nobody can do anything. Oh no, we're not allowed to do anything to them. Are you simple-minded or what? Well, what needed to happen is, in reality, but see, it wouldn't happen then. See, there was a couple appliance stores in South Philly, maybe 15, 20 of them, all over the neighborhoods. This was before Walmart. I could imagine them walking into Passyunk Avenue, into an appliance store in 1970s or the 60s, and grabbing a TV set and walking out. You wouldn't have made it to the sidewalk. The TV would have been back on the shelf, and they would have been sprawled out on the pavement with broken arms, maybe broken legs to go along with it. It's incredible what they've allowed people to get away with. And the truth is the truth. Look around and see who's doing it. Look at who's doing it. And I'm going to have something on that very shortly, too, because I'm sick of looking at this. I'm sick of looking at what I'm looking at. I'm sorry I'm the age I am. I wish I was 20 years younger, 25 years younger. I truly, truly do. I would do something totally different in life. But I'm going to do my best I can with what I have now. And like I said, I'm going to try to put something together this week, me and Justin. And if I can put it together, hopefully I can make some noise on the airways. Here? Oh no, he does. I thought he's having it at the club, the Italian American Club. Oh, okay. Ryan's on there tonight, huh? All right. So listen, everybody, this guy's first class. He's a first class entertainer, great singer, Bobby Darin. He does everything. He does Sinatra, but he's doing a Darin thing, I believe, tonight. And you can go there. I'm sure there's still some tickets available. You can call the Italian American Club. I don't have the number in front of me right now, but you can pick it up. Go Google it. And
702 457 3866. 457 3866.
there you go. That's the number. Call down there. The young lady will answer. She handles it. And she'll get you a ticket. You get a nice seat, fabulous food. Just they have everything. It's a buffet style, but they have everything you can imagine. And it's really, really good. I know I've been to a couple of shows. And I don't comp them. I pay for them. Everybody's got to make a buck, including Ryan, including the Italian American Club. They need to make money also. And that's how they do it. They have people come in and they entertain and they get a cut, naturally, a percentage of whatever the door is. But the idea is get down there and check out the show. And I don't know if I'll get there. I might. Who knows? I might. In any event, I enjoyed the afternoon again. Stay tuned next week. I'm going to have something to say next week, and I might even give you a little bit of what I'm doing. Let you hear it. I probably will. So stay tuned. And thank you, Jeannie, for giving us a call. Wish you luck tonight there, Ryan. Wish you a lot of luck, buddy. Bye-bye.
Night and day, you are the one rainbow I ever pursue. You go ahead, call me. It's possible. I admit I'm unreliable. I know I'd go from rags to riches.
He'd become quite the heartthrob. When he married for the first time, over 2,000 female fans gathered outside the ceremony at St. Patrick's Cathedral, dressed in black as a show of mourning. 1960.
I want to.
Nobody else can take me. I love that still. Had to be you, wonderful you. Had to be you.
He'd become quite the heartthrob. When he married for the first time, over 2,000 female fans gathered outside the ceremony at St. Patrick's Cathedral, dressed in black as a show of mourning.
Can't hear it. Keep dreaming just to be beginning. My life is gonna be beautiful.
Nobody else makes me I love that still. Had to be you, wonderful you. Had to be you.
Well, I could do it much better.
The Upperman Report, weeknights at 9 on KSHP North Las Vegas, AM and FM, 829 6HP North Las Vegas, and KSHP.com.
First Costco earnings call Thursday afternoon. He said to clear up some recent media speculation, I want to confirm the $1.50 hot dog price is safe. The price of Costco's hot dog and soda combo at $1.50 has remained unchanged since the item was added to menus in the mid-'80s. But recent comments from Costco's former